No one could have known it then, but when Daytona International Speedway opened in 1959, it marked the beginning of a new era in American motorsport. As a replacement for the old beach road course a few miles east, the opening of the high-bank 2.5-mile Florida Tri-Oval represented the leading edge of a wave of construction of big paved speed palaces. Before Daytona, Indianapolis was the only American oval track longer than 1.25 miles, and most racing took place on dirt ovals a mile or less in length. From the very first Daytona 500, won by Lee Petty in a three-way photo finish, those high banks proved a favorable venue for wide-open stock car racing. Daytona kicked off the growth of NASCAR as we know it today. Daytona International Speedway's infrastructure has grown and changed to such a degree that it would be almost unrecognizable today to someone who hasn't seen it over the last 20 years. It's an amazing motorsports facility. But one thing hasn't changed over the past 6 decades. No driver can consider his or her career complete without notching a victory at Daytona. From Dale Earnhardt, who captured the 500 in 1998 after coming close so many times, to 14-year-old kart racers whose racing resumes are just beginning. A victory at Daytona is a mark of distinction. Tonight, it's race number 9 of the Davidson Builders Cup Series, and it's next on HBR TV. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the virtual Daytona International Speedway. Again, for race number 9 of the Numb Thumbs Racing League Davidson Builders Cup Series. Race details for tonight: 80 laps the race distance, 73-degree ambient temperature. A little humid here tonight, 71%. Clear skies, though, 8-mile-per-hour breeze out of the east-southeast. Track temperature, 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Drivers working with a 60% fuel load tonight. That gives these drivers 20 to 24 laps in the draft. No fast repairs. Count them, none. 0, zilch, not 1. I said zilch, not zilch. 3 green-white checkered finishes if it so comes to it. We'll see if that becomes necessary at any point tonight. It is Daytona after all. It can certainly happen. Taking a look at the points coming into tonight. Zach Millett, winner last week, moving his way up the standings. Connor Leach, the standings leader right now at 345 points. Zach Millett at 330. Then Chris Goins, Matt Sisler, and Jesse Sperling. Qualifying just about wrapped up here. Practice already in the books as well. There's a few drivers, 2 to be specific, that haven't taken the time just yet. Those drivers are Ross Endicott and Jarrett Woodard. We'll see if they just opt to start out back. Talking to some drivers early this evening, hearing that some are just choosing to run out near the back, knowing there's no fast repairs in this series. That could become a major issue in terms of trying to complete this race. If you're just trying to get out there and secure some points, maybe a win, that's all well and good, but you've got to finish that race in order to do just that. So some drivers going to take it easy. We may see the single file freight train for a good portion of tonight. It just depends, I guess, on what kind of mood these drivers are in. Do they want to go out there and put it all on the line and risk it? Or are they going to take care of their stuff until it really is time to go after this race win? Qualifying has completed as far as the time is concerned, so that puts us in a situation here where we got to give you viewers out there at HBR TV our starting grid. So we'll do just that right now. On the pole position, in the number 71 Skunkworks Racing Machine, out of Canada, it's the 71 of Connor Leach at 48.906 seconds. Joshua Moore just barely missed it, 3/1000ths of a second shy. He'll start outside front row. Row number 2, it's the 9 of Alfie Sharon and the 11 of Brandon Coleman. Row 3, it's Skylar Harrod and Derek Welch. Row 4, Paul Turkey and Albert Anderson. Row 5, it's Justin Lawson and Dylan Bryant. 11 starter, it's the 315 from Track Bar Motorsports, Zach Millett. Teammate Chris Goins will start to his outside in 12th. Tom Barish, 13th. Mark Collins, 14th. 15th starter is Sean Roberts. 16th goes to Nick Biddy. Jesse Redding will roll off 17th. Jesse Sperling starts in the 18th position. Jim Ott in the number 4 starts 19th. Ben McKinnon, 20th. 21st starter is Mike Corvu in the number 97. Matt Sisler, 22nd. 23rd starter, John Luke Wilkie. 24th goes to Scott Milner. Joe David from Lowline Motorsports starts 25th, with Jarrett Woodard, the number 79, starting 26th. Last but not least, shotgun on the field. It's the number 57 All-Star Racing entry of Russ Endicott. Your starting grid here from Daytona International Speedway. Field sitting on the grid right now, waiting for just a couple of drivers, Justin Lawson, and it looks like Matt Sisler to attend the grid. Now it's just Matt Sisler we wait on before we can get rolling here. And the race details for this evening: 80 laps the race distance, 73 degrees, 74% humidity, getting muggier and muggier. Clear skies, 7-mile-per-hour breeze, track temp 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Again, no fast repairs this evening, so drivers have that to deal with. We'll see how that plays out through the course of the race. Again, 2 sets of tires over the wall. May or may not be a factor. We'll see how that plays out as well. And that fuel window is supposed to take everybody to about 20 to 24 laps. Depends on where exactly you're going to be in the field as far as whether you're going to lead this race or you're going to be stuck in the draft, save some fuel. Obviously, the guy out in front all race long, you'd think that's where you'd want to be, but it really isn't. You're going to burn a lot of fuel in doing it. So, field up on the banking here in turn 2. 1 lap under the caution car. We'll get back to start-finish here and take the green flag, and we'll be racing in just about a minute or so. A few people, could be drivers in the chat. Alfred Charon, tower operator Larry Dickerson, all checking in. Thanks for saying hello, everybody. Chat is open. Feel free to say hello. Pace car about to hit pit lane. Barney holding the green in hand.
Ready, green flag.
Green flag in the air. Two stragglers at the back of the pack, not getting really tightened up with the field. They're going to be an issue if they lose the draft, but we're underway. Field in turns 1 and 2. Coleman and Leach side by side at the front of the field. Coleman leads him down into turn 3. Leach slips back just a bit. He's got Alfie Charon on the back bumper. Outside line, he's got Albert Anderson in the 99. Can't quite see who he's pushing here. I think that's the one of Derek Welch. Maybe new paint scheme. Yes, it is the one of Derek Welch. Looking further back in the field, though, we do have a few stragglers. We talked about that right at the start. Joe David, Josh Moore, Sean Roberts, they're linked up together, but I just don't know if they've got enough energy in that 3-car draft to work their way up to the main pack just ahead. But make matters worse, further back, Scott Milner, Jarrett Woodard, Russ Endicott, they're in their own trio, kind of in no man's land. I'm sure they can stay on the lead lap throughout this. This might be their game plan here, knowing there's no fast repairs, take care of the race car. Fingers crossed they let everything weed themselves out. They don't get caught up in the big one. Lori Vaught in the chat says, hello HBR TV. Have a good race all, Star and DW. There's a little heart here. You can't see it on my end, but it blocks the text, so sometimes I have to move things around. We'll get that fixed too. I think I got it handled. Meanwhile, back out front, Derek Welch has taken over the top spot. Anderson has pushed the one out to the lead. Dylan Bryant in the 3rd position in the number 28 Pepsi machine. Fourth place, Chris Goins. Tucked in behind him, Zach Millett. Albert Anderson seemingly wanted to close off that low line, saw the run coming, but opted to stay behind Derek Welch. Welch either wants to work that high line or whatever the case may be, but I don't know if it was the wisest decision. Again, it's early, but Chris Goins able to fill the gap with drafting help from two teammates. That's Zach Millett and Alfie Sharon as they work the back straightaway here on lap number 4. So new leader on to turn number 4. It's Chris Goins at the point. What I'm seeing out of this field right now is cautious aggression. If anybody understands what I'm trying to get at there, is guys making some moves for positions, but they're not being crazy about it. As we see Millett go to the inside for the race lead on Chris Goins off turn number 4. Now Millett takes over the top spot. I think that was more out of necessity than aggression. We talked to some other drivers also pre-race, Zach Millett being one of them, that it was very difficult to maintain that amount of push, so to speak, throughout the course of a lap. About a half lap into that bumper-to-bumper, locking bumpers type scenario, the engine starts to overheat, and you've got to step out, get some air into that radiator, cool that engine down. Cars stacked up here in the back of the pack. Sperling one of them. Paul Durkee another. Just a moment ago, I'm pretty sure I saw Sperling below the yellow line on entry to turn 3. I don't think it was intentional. I think he might have been pushed down there. Luckily, keeps it out of the wall, and everybody continues to drive on. Now with these drivers getting all crossed up, they have brought them back a little bit more to those 3 cars, those 6 cars really, that were way out of the draft. Try and check on them again. Milner, Woodard, and Endicott still the 3 cabooses at the back of the pack, at least for the time being. We'll check up here. Josh Moore, who qualified on the front row, all the way at the back, but that first trio we talked about did get caught up to the main pack. I'm not sure if that was just out of them drafting towards the front or if these guys stacked up and lost some momentum and it kind of brought them back in, but you've got 4, 5, 6, about a 10-car draft here. Change for the top spot. Welch working around Zach Millett with some drafting help from Dylan Bryant. Millett on the bottom of the racetrack. Welch up top. He carries the advantage into the corner. The bottom lane still Track Bar Motorsports 1, 2, 3. Millett, Jones, and Sharon. Welch closes the door, moves down to the bottom lane, abandons the 28 of Bryant. But now Bryant in a position with Mark Collins on the back bumper and Albert Anderson as well, closing in. Remember, Albert Anderson won the first race of the season out of Kansas Speedway. Mark Collins, though, to this point on the season, yet to see victory lane. Two distinct packs right now. The front, you've got 3, 4, 5 cars on the outside battling it out with the inside. These guys are still racing pretty hot and heavy towards the front of the field, but further back, separated from the rest of that pack, you see they're all relatively single file with, I think it's Jesse Sperling leading that charge. They're going to start to reel in these double file drivers because they're punching a pretty big hole in the air for that single file group to get caught, and just like that here in the tri-oval, Sperling closes up the gap to the back of Mike Corvue. Millett still playing peekaboo around the back bumper of Derek Welch, giving him a bit of a shove through the tri-oval. Top two, it's Welch and Bryant. Left to right. Welch edges out ahead of the 28, the top lane, with just about the same numbers, within a couple of cars, that is, compared to the bottom. Nobody seems super organized right now, but that's the other thing, too, you got to keep an eye out for. You got a line that gets real organized. That means they're basically single file, nice and tight, front to back, no one stepping out of line. That line can really put on a charge versus the outside that might be a little discombobulated. The problem is you're all bumper to bumper to bumper, and the likelihood of someone accidentally pushing the pusher goes sky high. Nobody wants that to happen right now, especially considering there are no faster pairs in this series. I think everyone's just going to kind of play it cool here, try to get a feel for who they can work with, who they can race with. And then when it's really time to go, I'd say in the last 5 to 10 laps, you're going to see these guys really get after it. Derek Welch continues to lead. Millett with a nose out in the second position. Bryant takes it back, a bit of a seesaw. You see both these lanes with similar numbers, just kind of going back and forth, back and forth. Once again, we have two very distinct packs. That second group that caught the lead group, they've all checked up a bit, separated themselves slightly. Quite a bit, actually. So this group here, it's Jesse Sperling, Joe David, Dustin Lawson, Tom Barish, Paul Durkee. And further back, a couple more kind of by themselves. I'm going to wonder if we missed something here. There's something that went down in the back of the pack here. It did not bring out a caution by any means. do have an indication that Sean Roberts may have crashed. Is he out there? He is by himself. Right front showing minimal damage, but that's significant damage at a super speedway. I think we might have it here. Let's see if we can show it. Oh, Sperling and Roberts came together on the backstretch. John Luke Wilkie involved as well. Mike Corvu. He drives away. But this all happening towards the rear of the field. So the irony of this is these guys hang back. And again, I'm not saying it's the wrong plan. It's just a different strategy. But they hang back because they know they don't have a fast repair. They know we're at Daytona, which, you know, you see this close quarters battle, very tight racing here at high speeds. Things happen in a hurry. They don't want to get caught up in the big one and wreck their car and just be out of this thing early. Well, these guys were riding towards the rear of the field, trying to do just that, stay out of trouble, and they got in trouble. Anybody that's been following the sport long enough, they've seen the big one happen as the leader. They've seen it happen in the back. Still watching this battle up front between Derek Welch and Dylan Bryant. "19 laps complete. We are approaching our first set of green flag stops as Dylan Bryant gathers up enough momentum to clear Derek Welch. Welch pushing Bryant through the corner. I think that was Bryant just making the decision. I got to get down to the bottom here because I'm going to pit pretty soon. What a better way to do it than to take over the race lead. Does appear John Luke Wilkie, I think he is just up ahead of this battle. He's going to do his best to stay on the lead lap here as pit stop's getting ready to get underway. I just don't know if he's going to be able to. Pushing the back of the 28 awful hard here. 21 laps about to go up on the board. Welch dancing all over the back bumper of the 28 as they get to the tri-oval. White Corvu going another lap down here. He sticks it to the bottom of the racetrack to stay out of the way of the race leaders, that lead pack. Field screams by, start, finish. 22 laps up on the board. Again, 20 to 24 is about where we expected the pit window to be. Drivers making that pit stop now. Ben McKinnon, Matt Sisler, Scott Milner, Jarrett Woodard, Russ Endicott, Jesse Redding, all on pit lane. Watch Ben McKinnon. Looks like fuel only, maybe some repairs. Jesse Redding slides into his pit stall. Sisler down and away. Scott Milner leaves the box. So does Russ Endicott. Jarrett Woodard also leaving. And the race leaders are on pit lane. Dylan Bryant, Derek Welch, Joshua Moore, and others. fuel only up and down pit lane. So new leaders, Track Bar Motorsports, Zach Millett, Chris Goins, Alfie Charon Jr., and they come down pit lane with a group of drivers as well. Connor Leach, Skylar Herod, Albert Anderson, and more. Millett locks him up coming to pit lane. I don't know if he can get away with not changing tires now. Maybe a flat spot, we'll see. Chris Goins in the pit. Albert Anderson comes to a stop in his pit stall. Millett leaves the pits. Fuel only for him and Chris Goins. Looks like, again, that's the call for everybody up and down pit lane. So first round of pit stops under green. Looks like they're in the books. Mark Collins, though, he's on pit lane. He's seemingly gone the furthest out of anybody. And as EV Racing said in the chat, a nice looking 23 car, absolutely. Brings you back to Days of Thunder for sure. So Collins down and away, fuel only for the 23. So right now the timing tower is showing Zach Millett in the pits, but you can clearly see he's not. He's the race leader, just up ahead of Chris Goins, Dylan Bryant, Eric Welch, Alfie Charon. That's the current top five. These two drafting together a little bit too far out in front for the rest of those behind. The 6 or 7 cars are going to draft right up to them in the backstretch, likely get by them. Little tandem style here. Haven't seen that in a while. Welch and Bryant working together, going around the outside, taking the top 2 spots from Millett and Goins. So we've got a 9-car breakaway here at the front of the field. It's Dylan Bryant, Derek Welch, Zach Millett, Chris Goins, Alfie Charon, Connor Leach, Skylar Herod, Nick Biddy, and Albert Anderson. Jim Ott a little further back with Joshua Moore, but those two are just themselves together here, trying to draft to their heart's content, try and catch up to that lead group, but they are a ways back, 4 seconds plus. Right on board with Joshua Moore on the in-car camera here. See what it looks like when you're drafting up behind a guy. You're right there. You see nothing. All you can picture is the rear end of that race car ahead of you. And Moore is actually backed off just a hair, maybe trying to get some cool air to that radiator. Big lift out of the 18 into turn 3. I think that's intentional too. I mean, you don't want to push too hard through the corner. Again, right now they're just trying to maintain. Got Lori Vaughn in the chat again. Bryant, Welch, and Anderson, go get them. Right now, Bryant, Welch, and Anderson all running in the top 10. And your top 2, Dylan Bryant, Derek Welch. .30 laps complete here from Daytona International. Bryant leads over Derek Welch, Zach Millett, Chris Goins, and Alfie Cherin Jr. First 20 laps of this race seemed a bit racy with all these drivers, slightly aggressive, a lot more than I anticipated, but this is more what I expected to see with no fast repair. It's a little single file racing through the midsection of the race. Drivers just settling in. They know what they've got. They know who they're racing with. They know who they can trust. At least they think they know who they can trust. Of course, that all goes out the window last couple of laps. Lori in the chat again, correcting her spelling. I didn't even read it wrong, so I think we're good. I knew what you meant. Looks like Alfie Cherin Jr. stepping on a line here on the backstretch for a moment. I think he's just trying to cool that engine down. For a moment, I thought he was going to drop to the tail of this pack. Unfortunately for Mark Collins, in his haste to come to pit lane, he came last comparative to the rest of the field. Most racetracks, that could work out for you, but here at Daytona, you've got to come down with some drafting partners. He's in a relatively decent spot right now. He's not too far back from the actual race leader. He could draft up through there, try to take it back the old-fashioned way, but he would still need a caution to get looped back around. So where he sits, he still needs a caution to get looped back around. He is the first car one lap down. He would be able to get the lucky dog if the yellow were to come out, but so far so good as we approach the halfway point of this race. It's been clean and green from the very beginning. Second group of cars, Joe David leading the pack here, then Tom Barish, Jim Ott. Joshua Moore in the mix. Get the number 97 of Mike Corriveau. He is a lap down. But whether you're on the lead lap or not, you still provide drafting help. So no one's going to complain about him being in the mix. See Tom Barish in that number 55, that black and green NTG machine. There's a race here at Daytona a couple of years ago, I believe, here on HBR TV, in fact, where he went for a wild ride through the tri-oval, through the grass, into pit lane on his lid. His race did not end how he wanted it. So far, so good for the 55. And we have Mr. Jordan in the chat saying, hi. Hi, Mr. Jordan. Thanks for stepping in, saying hello. Glad you're here to watch this race, even if it's for only a short time. We hope you stick around and Watch the entertainment here. 35 laps in, shy of halfway. Drivers taking very good care of their equipment so far in this race. We've only had one incident on the backstretch that, frankly, in my opinion, should have been a caution, but in iRacing's algorithm, it just did not trigger one. Most of the drivers eventually spun down in through the grass with no additional traffic to run them over, and that's typically what the system needs to see in order to throw that yellow flag, is oncoming traffic at X speed versus Y speed. Leaders again, things relatively the same, with Bryant leading, Welch second, Millett, Gones, Charon fifth. And Leach, Herod, Biddy, Anderson, David. Oh, I haven't said David in a while. Again, Joe David, the lead car in that second pack. Tom Barish, Jim Ott leading the charge. This group seems to be mixing it up a little bit more than most. And unfortunately, they're losing ground to that front pack. They were back about 4 or 5 seconds. Oh, and David goes around. Jim Ott, Barish is around. We got a caution.
Got you loud and clear. I don't know why you can't hear Earl. Can you hear me?
Joe David spins back down the inside of the racetrack, noses into the inside safer barrier.
Check the one on your headset, on your headboard actually, on your left-hand side, on your headrest. 1, 2, 3, loud and clear. You got a good copy?
So there it is, just shy of halfway and a couple of laps shy of another round of pit stops. We get a caution flag, so that'll get everybody bunched back up. Joe David remains on the racetrack here, but let's take a look at it. We just witnessed it live, and I was just talking about how these guys were being a little bit more aggressive than that lead pack, though they weren't reeling them in. Let's go back and take a look. Back it up a little further here, get a better idea, a better view of this. All right, so the 55 of Tom Barish, he's off center. I don't know if he's trying to get to the inside here. You're trying to stay single file in this instance because they're just trying to reel him in, but it's also tough to lift because you got 6, 7, 8, 10 cars behind you. They're going to run you over if you do. There you have it. Pit stops underway. Dylan Bryant, Derek Welch, Zach Millett, Chris Gones. Well, it'd be easier to tell you who doesn't come down in pit. Looks like it's going to be Mark Collins, Mike Corriveau, and Sean Roberts have stayed out. They may still just not be at pit lane just yet. But again, a fuel-only stop for a lot of drivers. Zach Millett down and away. He's going to gain some spots out of this. Derek Welch, Connor Leach, Millett going to be the top three. Chris Gones, Skylar Herod. Very fast pit stops here. Dylan Bryant, a long one, almost 11 seconds at 10.5. Joshua Moore in the 18. He took a set of tires, all four to be specific. 14.75 the pit stop for the 18. Now, frankly, we got a very low track temperature here at Daytona tonight. It was about 75 degrees Fahrenheit on track. It's about 76 right now. It's going to go up and down here and there. But tire wear is not going to be a huge issue, especially here at Daytona and Talladega. You could effectively run this whole race without changing tires. Now, the benefits of putting them on, even though you don't truly need them, is it allows you to make more abrupt maneuvers out on track. You can go left, you can go right without having to worry quite as much about the rear end of the car stepping out, and now you've crossed up yourself in front of the field. So it allows Josh Moore, who's known to be pretty aggressive at most races we've seen him at, it allows him to be that way here at the Super Speedway. Now, with a lot of other drivers opting for fuel only, I'm curious to see the difference between those drivers and Joshua Moore. There were others that took tires, but the majority of the front runners, the top 10 that is, I think there was only one that took tires, and that was the 9 of Alfie Charon, who historically is also a little more of an aggressive driver. So guys that want to have some more rubber, more grip, more mechanical grip underneath their race car, because they're going to push the issue at some point, I think they decided, you know what? I didn't take them the first time. I'm going to take them this time, which means the next round of stops, my guess is they're going to skip it and then bolt a set for that final run to the checkers. It's only a guess. It's not a bad strategy. We'll see how it pays. So Connor Leach, through that pit stop cycle, I believe will be the leader. It's going to be him or Welch. See a lot of drivers running the apron of the racetrack right now. The reason behind that is fuel savings. They made their pit stop here at lap 38. Yes, we've got a caution here, so it's going to extend that fuel window a little bit later. But the shorter distance is on the inside. So the shortest amount of distance they can travel, the better. They use as little fuel as possible, which means they have to take on that much less later on. Again, this is the first caution we've had all night. Do we get another one? Probably. But I'd be willing to bet it's going to be very late in this race. Right in crunch time, last 10 to 5 laps. I'm going to check on Mark Collins here. It appears he did get his lap back. He's going to restart here in 21st. Pace car lights are out, so we're going right back racing here in just a moment. So Welch is going to lead them back to green.
Green flag.
Green back in the air. Leach drops down to the low lane in front of Zach Millett. Outside line, moving right along down the back straightaway with Chris Goins leading the charge. Dylan Bryant on the back bumper, but nowhere near as aggressive pushing the 41 as we saw him pushing the 1. Again, these two guys like to work together. I don't think Bryant wants to help Goins get around the 1. I can't say that I blame him. Nevertheless, Goins is going to lead him back to the stripe. So Goins drops down in front of Derek Welch. Welch looking for a route to get around the 41, down the back straightaway, trying to change lanes. Welch looking left, looking right, nowhere to go. Bryant there to the outside. Welch just going to hammer down the 41 into turn number 3, push him right into the middle of the corner. Goins gets out ahead of the 1 just a bit, allows Welch to close back up. Goins switches lanes, blocks the run from the 28 of Dylan Bryant. Oh, big time push into the tri-oval, upsets the 41 just a bit, but Goins hangs on to it. That is a nasty part of the racetrack to be trying to push a driver. Not as much banking there in the tri-oval as we see in these corners now, but you see Goins goes up the racetrack. Bryant swaps down to the bottom, takes over the race lead. He rides out in front of the 1 of Derek Welch. Bryant finding his happy place out ahead of the 1. Top 5 in no particular order. Chris Goins, Dylan Bryant, Albert Anderson, Derek Welch, Jesse Sperling. Further down the line, Connor Leach, Brandon Coleman, Zach Millett, Jarrett Woodard, Alfie Sharon. And Albert Anderson making a look to the bottom for the race lead, but Chris Goins slams the door on the 99. Chris Goins willing to take on the trio of Anderson, Bryant, and Welch. Talked to Chris Goins pre-race. He said, yeah, I'm just going to hang out in the back today. Yeah, right. Now Jesse Sperling goes to the outside with help from the 11. Sperling to the race lead as they cross start finish. Action picking up here at Daytona. No fast repairs, nobody cares. Sperling gets shuffled into the middle of the draft, though. He's going to lose a bunch of spots unless somebody picks him up. Chris Goins, Anderson, the top two. Then it's Coleman, Sperling, and Woodard. The pack is jostling all over the place. Chris Goins out in front of this field trying to do his best Dale Jr. impersonation. Oh, he gets crossed up on the nose of Coleman. Saves the car. How he does it, I don't know. Coleman cut him a big break after the contact. Really checked up to not run him all the way over. That was as close as it comes. Goins still leads down into turn one. Wow. Coleman now closes up to the back of Chris Goins again in 3 and 4. Makes a look to the inside. That might have been a bit of a fake. It's Goins, Coleman, Woodard, Sperling, and Millett, the top 5. Then it's Anderson, Sharon, Bryant, Welch, and Milner. Board with Chris Goins, looking back at the rest of the field. Just a few feet between himself and the 11 of Brandon Coleman. Coleman closes the gap. These two made contact a few laps ago. Almost ended in disaster for everybody. Coleman did a good job giving Goins some room. Goins did a great job saving the car. Goins switches lanes, blocks the run from Jesse Sperling. Now Millett gets to the outside. Here we go. Now we're 3 wide for the race lead here at Daytona. Coleman goes to the bottom of the racetrack. Up top, it's Goins and Zach Millett. Jarrett Woodard pushing the 11, and once again, Sperling shuffled to the middle. Top 3, now it's Goins, Millett, and Sharon. The Track Bar Motorsports Group back to the point, 2nd and 3rd. John Roberts taking the high line here. He's a slow car. Laps down. 1 to be exact. Going to be 2 here momentarily. Again, Sean Roberts involved in an early race incident that did not bring out the yellow. Should settle everybody down, at least for the time being, as they try to work around the slower moving Ford of Sean Roberts. But with that, we're going to step aside, get a quick HBR TV side-by-side break before our next round of pit stops. Stay with us, folks. We'll be back after this.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Daytona International Speedway, 54 laps about to be complete as Chris Goins, Zach Millett, Alfie Sharon, the top three. Brandon Coleman, Josh Moore, fourth and fifth. Jesse Sperling, sixth. Lawson, seventh. Jarrett Woodard, eighth. Paul Durkee, ninth. McKinnon up to 10th. You can see as the changes continue to happen here in the timing tower, that's all fluid. Once you get side by side, and Alfie Sharon moves up the racetrack for a moment there. Thought about pulling the 18 of Josh Moore along, but he's got a run out of turn number 2. Now he loses that draft. Brandon Coleman sucks up to the back of the 9, down the back straightaway into turn 3. Once these drivers get clear of start-finish, some of them would be in their fuel window. One of the drivers that won't be, it's the guy out front, the 41 of Chris Goins. You lead this race, you use more fuel than anybody else. All the drivers in behind, they get the benefit of your draft. They don't need to use as much gas, as much throttle to maintain the same speed. With 25 laps to go, you're going to see some drivers start thinking about pitting in the next lap or two. Maybe pull a gamble, get back out there, though some others may wait until maybe 20 to go, if they can go that long. to be a fuel mileage race, I think, either way without cautions. But if we get a caution here late, green-white checkered conversation specifically, I think everybody's going to need to make a run to pit lane. Zach Millett jockeying for position in behind Chris Goins. Again, could be a situation that's trying to get some air on the nose of that 315. Meanwhile, Brandon Coleman working around the outside with a big-time run with Joshua Moore pushing. Sends Brandon Coleman to the top spot. Not quite clear yet, but we'll see what kind of run we get out of turn 4 as we got some drivers. Tom Barish coming to pit lane and another slow car just up ahead. We got to figure out what lane he's going to take when these leaders get there. I think that's the 72 or 97. Hard to tell right now. We'll catch that in just a minute. It is the 97. He stays low. It's going to send the whole pack up the racetrack. Should have gone high. Oh, it's going to put a big mess here. Everyone's going to stack up behind. He was able to get out of the way here on the exit of turn number 2, thankfully. But it really throws a curveball in the mix for all these drivers up in the lead pack. Drivers shuffling left and right. Chris Goins makes some contact. We got a car in the wall. Trouble, caution out, 23 to go, and we have a yellow. Once again, right before green flag stops. Ben McKinnon trying to get straightened out. Also needs to straighten out the trade and paints. Not trying to add insult to injury here, but fix those numbers, Ben. We love you, but fix those numbers. Bad timing, I'm sorry. All right, let's see what happened here. Did appear Chris Goins went up the racetrack, made some contact. This is after the fact. We're going to back it up further and get a better look at it. We're 3 wide down the back. And it's really all kicked off. You see the number 97 there. He stayed low in turns 1 and 2, which is less than ideal. So you see the 97, the inside. It's almost like a green, gray, and white camouflage car. I can't really tell from here. He does get up out of the way here on the backstretch, but damage already done as it slows the inside line down, stacks everybody up. Now it looks like the 315 is going to push Chris Goins. There's one push. And it looks like he was going to make a run here on McKinnon. Gets to the inside. Trying to find the best angle on this. It's tough. But yeah, it looks like we had maybe an ill-timed push or a bad angled push. It sends Goins up the racetrack into McKinnon, which sends him into Albert Anderson. Connor Leach gets a piece. Dylan Bryant gets a piece. Not a ton for Bryant. And I think Leach might have got on the binders enough to avoid major damage. We'll see. That's the wreck that won't end. So under the caution flag for the second time today. 21 laps to go. Derek Welch, your race leader. His last pit stop coming at lap 59 just now. Went fuel only. Looks like the top 5 drivers went fuel only. That was Welch, Josh Moore, Chris Goins, Zach Millett, Alfie Charon. Lawson's going to come out in P6. He took tires. Connor Leach, it's 11.1 second stop. It could have been Wright's. It might have just been a little repair. Brandon Coleman in the 11. He'll restart 8th with fresh rubber. Matt Sisler up to 9th. Fuel only. Skylar Harrod, 11.4 second stop in 10th. Likely fuel only, maybe Wright's. I know Josh is in the chat. He could tell us, but I don't think he will. So pace car lights are out. We're going to get the restart here with 19 to go. I think everybody should be good to go to the end. There's a couple of drivers like Paul Durkee, Ben McKinnon on pit lane again. I think McKinnon's just getting some repairs made, but they'll have a little bit of extra fuel here. They're at the back of the pack. No harm in topping off the tank. Mike Corvu also back on pit lane. Josh Sisk in the chat says, Intel is valuable. I didn't think he would tell us. So our front row, we go back to green. Welch and Moore. Derek has been stellar here this evening. Row 2, it'll be Millett and Leach. Chris Cones rounding out the top 5. Some heavy hitters here at the front of the field. Leach looking for his 3rd win of the season. Moore looking for win number 2. Millett looking for his 5th. Welch looking for his 1st. Pace car is in, getting ready for the restart.
Green flag.
And there it is, green back in the air. Welch fires off. Millett changes lanes quickly, gets right behind the 1. Gets right in front of Chris Gones, teammate, and as well as Alfie Sharon Jr. Again, the Track Bar Motorsports machines lined up in a row behind Derek Welch on the low side. Top side's Josh Moore, Connor Leach, Brandon Coleman. Skylar Harrod in the 4th position in that top line as well. Nick Biddy changes it up, and we got to move for the race lead. Josh Moore under fire. Connor Leach thought he had a spot there. Got to the inside. Moore shut the door. That was either going to pay off or a big wreck, and somehow it was neither. Leach all over the back bumper of Joshua Moore. 18 laps to go here from Daytona. Top 3, Moore, Leach, Welch. Brandon Coleman, all sorts of out of sorts. Entrance to turn number 3, hangs onto the race car, loses a little bit of ground, but keeps it going the right direction. That was off the nose of Skylar Harrod. Jesse Sperling runs in behind Harrod. That's all on the outside lane, trying to regroup. Work their way back towards the front. This might be an opportunity to do it as the top 3 start to get away a bit. Talked about overheating issues with these race cars. Got to pat everybody on the back for not blowing one up just yet. But I think this is when we're going to start to see that come to play, because these guys are really fighting for position now, and they're going to push till their heart's content or until that engine expires. The other thing you got to keep in mind, though, you don't want to blow that motor up, but you want to win this race. So you got to kind of try and time those pushes and time those runs with where you are within the race laps. How far away are you from the end? Do you want to make that move at a certain time? You want to leave yourself some wiggle room to try it again if it doesn't pay off? Because you're going to need to cool that car down before you try it again. You can't just tuck up behind a guy right after you got her hot. You got to give it a little bit to cool things down. It's more than just going fast and turning left, folks. There's a lot of strategy involved. Coming to 15 laps to go. It's Moore and Leach at the front of the field. Moore with Derek Welch in behind. Leach has Brandon Coleman pushing, and he gave him a well of a push into the tri-oval. Coleman slips a bit, looks up topside, nowhere to go. And Coleman slots down in front of Josh Moore. Not a whole lot of space to spare, but he made it work. Thought about staying up to top side and going around Connor Leach, but thought better of it. Stays in behind. Plenty of time left. Going to be 14 to go when they get back to the stripe. Connor Leach with the race lead. Top 5 out of turn 4 down the back. Herod, Leach, Sperling, Coleman, Biddy. It's going to change again in about a second and a half. Meanwhile, Herod goes to the point, takes the top spot from Leach as they work into turn 3. Sperling, the lead car in the outside lane. Nick Biddy coming into the picture now. Dylan Bryant, Mark Collins. Remember Mark Collins? He was a lap down not long ago. Now he's running 8th. Sperling edges out in front for just a moment. We'll see if he can get clear of Herod. Seems to be the top side is where to go to funnel yourself to the race lead. But do you do it now or do you wait until the very last minute? Top lane, Nick Biddy pushing hard. The 29 out in front, almost too far, about a half car length ahead of the 32. He loses a little bit of momentum into 3 and 4. It's going to open up the lead more for Skylar Herod. Connor Leach might get clear. Nope, he stays alongside. Off turn 4 again. Skylar Herod with the lead. Connor Leach pushing. These two work together. Same race team, same strategist. Josh. Brandon Coleman sits there in the 3rd position on the low line. Top side, it's Sperling, Biddy, and Bryant. Starting to feel like the calm before the storm. Things were a little chaotic. Now we're kind of chilling out. I still don't think we're done wrecking. Best in the business can't seem to avoid it. I don't see how we can either. Leach with a big-time push on the back of the 3 car down into turn 3. Pushes Herod out to the race lead yet again. Sperling losing some ground. Biddy not pushing the 29 quite as hard as I think he could. This time through the tri-oval, it'll be 10 laps to go. Herod still with the race lead. Derek Welch making some moves in the 10th position, trying to find a way back towards the front. It's been very impressive most of the night. Maintains the 9th position on the low side for now. A novel of things can change between now and the next 9.5 laps. Sperling now edges out in front, a little crossed up. Comes down the racetrack, was worried about some contact there with the 3, but they get through it okay. On to turn number 4. Still, Biddy trying to not push too hard. I don't know if this is just strategy or what the circumstances are. Sperling now out in front, could have come down, chose to stay up top side. Herod drives right through the hole yet again. I don't know, we talked about it maybe 10 laps ago now, as it seems that the top lane seems to be the way to get down to the race lead to the bottom. You just got to make sure you've got some drafting help to get that done. The problem is if you do it too early, the guy that was pushing you is likely to get pushed around you. Meanwhile, we got a slow car up top. I think that's Sean Roberts again. He puts himself in the wall to give everybody as much room as possible, but I think he might have broke that right front. We'll stay with this battle up front here. Herod still with the lead. Off-center push from Connor Leach. He saves it, though. Three wide here, Zach Millett in the middle, Woodard up top, Welch on the bottom. Goes back for about the 9th position. Millett gets shaken free there, now slips back in front of Gones, changes lanes, goes to the outside of Mark Collins. Now he's going to go 3 wide, try to split the 2. Millett to the top side. Chris Gones is going to fill in behind the 315. Are they making their move now? If they are, it might be too early. I don't know. Collins slides up, maybe a little contact with Chris Gones. Herod still leads. We watch this battle here for the 9th spot. If that top lane can get going, now all 4 Track Bar Motorsports machines lined up. Millett, Gones, Jesse Redding, and Alfie Charon. And as soon as I say it, Millett switches lanes, drops to the bottom side, tucks in behind Brandon Coleman, abandons his teammates. Saw an opening and went for it. Slow car on the top lane. I think that's Ben McKinnon. Alfie Charon trying to find a way to the front. Aggressively changing lanes again. This now back in 13th. He's alongside teammate Chris Gones. Millett jumped up to the 6th position. Meanwhile, Skylar Herod continues to lead the race. Less than 6 laps to go. It'll be 5 at the stripe as they work on a turn number 4. Side by side for the 2nd spot. It's Sperling and Connor Leach. Then Brandon Coleman and Nick Biddy. Zach Millett, Dylan Bryant, Derek Welch, Josh Moore. All of these guys have shown power and speed here tonight. Sperling now jumps out in front. Biddy now decides to push the 29. Inside starts to reel him back in, though, on the bottom of the racetrack in 3 and 4. We'll see if that momentum carries the top lane out of 4 yet again. This could be a preemptive replay of the finish that we haven't had yet, but 3 wide again. Millett, Bryant, Moore in behind the race leaders. 4 laps remain. And there it is, Herod back to the point. Leach checking up just a little, trying to build a run. Little wiggle out of Sperling. He slips up the racetrack a bit. To go. Sperling leads it again. Still off the nose of Nick Biddy. Not willing to get out of the nose of the 32. Had an opportunity yet again to drop down in front of Skylar Herod, but chose to not to. I think Millett and Alfie Charon might have made some contact down the back straightaway. Charon jumped down below the yellow line for a moment. Tucks back in behind Millett. A couple of car lengths between the two of them. The 9 will likely draft back on up. We still watch the battle out in front. Top four hotly contested here. Herod, Sperling, Leach, and Nick Biddy. And Chris Goins going to the outside, making it 3 wide again. Joe David tries to put him up into the fence there. It was close quarters battle. They were inches apart. Goins in behind Dylan Bryant now. 2 laps to go. Herod leads. Oh, we got trouble. Joe David in the wall.
Should be a caution. Caution.
Big time wreck. Finally, the big one here at the end of this, coming to the white. It's going to set us up for overtime, and who has the fuel? Oh boy, oh boy. Kind of glad. Gives me a break. My heart's pounding. All right, let's take a look at this, see exactly how it happened. It's off the nose of the 21. Let's back it up a little further to see exactly how this happened. We'll stop it right here. I got a million angles to work with here. Let's see if I can find one that gives us something. Let's try this, quarter speed. Yeah, I don't know if Jesse was just going to try and jump to the inside of the 6 or give him a push, or he wasn't sure what he wanted to do, but ultimately he does get into the left rear of Joe David. And you try and push a guy and you're not square, that is exactly what'll happen. You're going to send him up the racetrack or down, depending on which corner you get. And we end up with the big one. So, with 3 to go, Jesse Sperling was the leader at the time of caution. This will send us to overtime. Zach Millett looking at pit lane, chooses not to. Jim Ott decides, I need fuel. Barney going to town on that yellow flag. So some guys at the back of the pack opting to pit right now. This is kind of a gamble for them. It looks like 14th on back for the most part. All decided to hit pit lane for some much needed fuel, maybe even some tires. Joshua Moore was one of them. Moore did take 4. So he's definitely good to go here for some green-white checkers. Got some fresh tires as well. So now it becomes a matter of who is going to be able to make it to the end of this. This really does stretch things out. Caution comes out about lap 79. Race leaders made their pit stops last, from first back to 13th on lap 59. The fuel window is 20 to 24 laps. I think we only saw one driver go that far tonight, and that was Mark Collins. It's going to be tight for some of these guys. I just hate to see someone run out the front of the field here as we come to green. Matt Sisler says, I remember why I hate plate racing in the Gen 6. Play it safe all race and yet still get caught in someone else's mess. Not happy at all. Okay, Denny. It's easy for me to say. You play it safe when you're supposed to be racing. It is a race after all, but I don't think there's a place that you're really safe in these races. You could be leading and get wrecked. You could be dead last and get wrecked. It's just the way that it goes sometimes. I've always been the type to try and run up front when you can, and if all of a sudden it feels like things are going to happen, you just kind of get that feeling like, this doesn't feel right. That's when you drop out of line and go to the back and then go back through. I know sometimes it's very difficult, especially in the next gen. I've seen it can be quite difficult to work your way back up through. Obviously, this is the Gen 6 Cup car, but it's just plate racing. It's the way it is. You love to hate it. We hate to love it. We do a little bit of both. So front row as we get ready for a restart. Jesse Sperling and Skylar Harrod. Harrod will have the outside now. Sperling on the bottom. Surprised he didn't pick the top. But then he would have had a teammate of the guy he's trying to beat, trying to push him. At least he's got Nick Biddy on the back, but I don't think that's much of a teammate either at this point. Green flag is in the air. Overtime at Daytona. Sperling fires off well, maybe a little too well. He's going to need to block his rear end off. Up in front of the 3. Harrod trying to drop down low. Sperling stays up in the middle, drops back down to the racetrack in turn number 1. I think he successfully defended for now. Trying to block both lanes, goes up the racetrack in front of Connor Leach. Leach might make some contact. Oh, and he turns him off at turn number 2. Sperling on his lid. Big time crash. Caution on the Speedway. Night over for the 29 of Sperling. It wasn't much, but Leach drove into the back of him. Might have only connected with about an inch or two of the right rear of the 29, but it was certainly more than enough to send Sperling up the racetrack. Derek Welch gets collected in this. Leach will pick up some damage as well. I knew there was a reason I kept the yellow flag logo up. Yeah, and Jesse's going down the racetrack as he gets hit. Millett gets collected a little bit here as well. That's going to force a lot of these drivers to pit now for sure. So we'll set it up again here, our second attempt at a green-white checkered finish. So we're getting some input in the chat about the 71 needing a penalty for that, and my only argument to that is, yes, he did get into Sperling there in the right rear. It was awfully close, but as a driver, you know for certain that if you right rear a guy there, you're going to be involved in that. So you're wrecking your own night at the same time. Yes, he's still out there, but that's not a winning strategy for the 71. I don't think that was an intentional move. That's my opinion, but of course I say that, and Leach is going to restart on the front row. But it just, I don't know. We'll see how strong his car is. It seemed like he took a pretty significant hit there, but 9 times out of 10, it's not going to end well, even for the driver that's behind. So we're on the one to go here. A lot of drivers did hit pit lane during this. Nick Biddy and Connor Leach, though, stayed out. Joshua Moore topped off the fuel again. It looks like he may be closest. Now it's Russ Endicott pit. So he'll be the furthest up the line of drivers that made a pit stop. But remember, Moore took tires on the previous caution, so he's probably got the advantage here. And you really got to worry about the 71 and the 32 running out of fuel. I cannot imagine they've saved enough to make it. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. Josh Sisk in the chat says this is going to be close. It's going to be real tight. I'm sure he's got a handle on it, but man, that's a long ways to go, even with some cautions mixed in. So front row again will be Nick Biddy, Connor Leach. Yeah, there's some rear damage on that 71. I cannot see him being very aero efficient if he's out in front. That's really just going to hold up that outside line. Not to mention the fuel concerns. Man, this could get ugly. Pace car about to pull down pit lane. We'll try it again. Our second attempt at a green-white checkered finish. It's been a relatively clean race up until the latter stages here, and that's kind of what we expected. It's Daytona. That's how it goes. Green flag back in the air. We're back underway, trying to settle it here at Daytona. Second green-white checkered is green. Nick Biddy and Connor Leach side by side through turns 1 and 2. Josh Moore all over the back bumper. This 71. It's kind of what we thought. Not very aero efficient. Leach trying to stay up front, but he's just getting run over. Now Josh Moore goes to the outside. Drafting help from Dylan Bryant. He'll go around the outside. Yes, the 71 very slow at the bottom of the racetrack. Now he's slowing up the bottom line. Dylan Bryant working to the outside, trying to go for the race lead. He's got drafting help. Looks like Justin Lawson as they cross the start-finish for the white flag. Final lap at Daytona. Dylan Bryant out in front. Justin Lawson, Brandon Coleman, the top three. Top 5 single file, bottom of the racetrack, out of turn number 4. Big bump from Lawson all over the back bumper of Dylan Bryant. Do they get back to the stripe without wadding him up again? Alfie Chair in there looking to the outside. No one close enough to help just yet. Drops it back down to the bottom of the racetrack. Big time wreck behind him. And we got trouble in the middle of 3 and 4. Now a side-by-side battle out of turn number 4 between Bryant and Lawson. It'll be a drag race to the finish. Coming to the stripe. Who's going to win it? Checkered flag. Dylan Bryant takes the checkered flag over Justin Lawson. By 32 thousandths of a second, Bryant edges the 20 of Justin Lawson as the field blows apart behind him. Wow. Dylan Bryant, your race winner here at Daytona. I need a blood pressure pill. Dylan Bryant parks it on the front stretch under the flag stand. I don't know if he's out of gas. That's the other thing. Who ran out of fuel? Did anybody? Nevertheless, Dylan Bryant got to be very happy. And honestly, that car looks pretty clean considering. We'll step aside here, get a break out of the way, be in our top 3 finishers in the broadcast booth after this. We'll be right back.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Daytona International Speedway, race 9 in the books for the Davidson Builders Cup Series, and man, kind of played out how we all expected it to. Nice and easy through the majority of the race, and then absolute chaos for the latter stages. It's just how it goes here at Daytona. Dylan Bryant victorious. We'll pull the driver of the number 28 Wild Cherry Pepsi machine up into the broadcast booth and get a word with our race winner. Dylan, it's Steve in the HBR TV booth. You got me?
Steve, what's up, man?
Dylan, it's been too long, man. Congratulations. An awesome win here tonight. A strong run really all night long. You were always in the mix there in that top 5. Walk us through this race, strategy coming in, the calmness, so to speak, throughout the mid stages of this event, and then the absolute aggression there at the end.
Yeah, I think with the no fast repairs, it really restricts us from doing too many wacky things at first. So I figured with about 30 to go that it was going to amp up some, and I was just trying to actually work with Albert throughout the night, because with the Gen 6 cars, you kind of need 3 cars, but 2 cars is at least a guaranteed. So, but it was a wild night, man. I am still like shaking. I'm speechless because that last lap was wild. So,
time for a cold beer?
Oh yeah, like 4 of them or 5. Yeah.
Well, you brought it home first. An awesome job. It was a very close one. They were coming to the finish, holding off Lawson by 32 thousandths of a second. What a run to the finish. It doesn't matter how much you win by, as long as you win. We look forward to next week, Nashville Super Speedway. Not really a super speedway, I guess, but either way, it's a fun racetrack. How do you feel about your chances to repeat next week?
Well, I got to get past a few of the faster guys here at these plate tracks. It kind of evens up the odds, but Kansas is one of my better tracks, so hopefully I can keep a few of the faster guys honest and try to get a top 5.
Did I say Kansas? Am I losing it? Nashville.
Oh, Nashville. Nashville, Kansas. I don't know. My virtual sim truck is towing the car for me. So
I might have to go back and listen to it, because I might have said Kansas. I don't know. It's been a long weekend for me. I'm still recovering from the Glen. But either way, Dylan, congratulations, man. Wish you the best of luck going forward. It's awesome to get that win out of the way. Now you can put the aggression level a little bit up to 10, maybe 11 next week. We'll see how things play out. But who do you want to thank before we let you get out of here, man?
First and foremost, the All-Star Racing family, Albert and Russell. A shout out to them. I think Russell got his best finish in NTRL tonight, which was 8th place. So a shout out to him. Albert had some bad luck. Also, my family over there in VRL. Lori always watches us race and stuff. So I got a trophy for her, and Derek, all the admins, Steve, amazing job. Every broadcast, man, you're top notch. And then all the sponsors and stuff. Huge shout out to Nick and Justin. If it weren't for Justin pulling back up some in 3, I might not would have gotten it, but it was a great race. So I hope everybody have a great night, and tomorrow night I'll be over there with my other family making me some left and right turns. So I hope I'll do good over there as well.
All right, Dylan. Well, thanks for the kind words, man. Congratulations again, and good luck next week.
All right, Steve. I'll catch you next week.
Take care. Dylan Bryant, your race winner here at Daytona. Next, we'll pull the driver of the 20 up into the broadcast booth. It's Justin Lawson. Came so close, talking 32 thousandths of a second difference between first and second. Justin, it's Steve in the booth. You got me?
Yep, I got you.
I'll turn you up here just a bit. Justin, again, congratulations. You started here in 9th position tonight. Not a huge difference here in these super speedways. You could be dead last or work your way to the front or start first and finish last. But nevertheless, checkered flag drops. You finish P2 after a wild 3 and 4. All chaos unfolding behind you. How did it look like from your perspective, or were you not paying any attention to that rearview mirror?
Very little attention in the rear view. Just watching the door for Dylan out there. Just hoping I could pull him back a little bit, but he outside drafted me for sure. But yeah, after that last restart, I was just praying for a top 10, and then the seas parted and found myself following Dylan to the white. Like, well, we might have a chance at this one.
Was that really the main difference there coming to the checkered flag, that side draft? Because, man, from my perspective up here in the booth, it certainly looked like you were going to get him, and then all of a sudden that momentum just disappeared.
Yeah, I think he got jacked up from behind a little bit and doored me, and that checked me up a little bit, and I didn't really have much help off of 4. Alfie gave me a pretty good shot coming off of 4 immediately to get me up there, but then I didn't have any help behind me, and he had a couple of cars lined up behind him, but it was real close.
Well, second place, obviously always better than last. Congratulations, a job well done here tonight. Remember you running the trucks here, those seems to be more in your wheelhouse, but you're getting the hang of these things. We keep seeing these cars a little closer to the front each and every week as we move into Nashville Super Speedway next week. How do you feel about your guys' chances out there on the concrete oval in Tennessee?
Yeah, my whole team, we just don't get the finishes we deserve. We don't execute very well. We're faster than our finishes reflect. So if we can clean up our pit road and sometimes strategy bites us, if we can clean all that up, I think you'll see us in the top 10. If not top 5, I think we got a lot more than we show most days.
Well, awful close to victory lane here tonight. Justin, again, congratulations, man. Who do you want to thank before I let you go?
Yeah, I think my teammates, Paul, Brandon, and Ben. Paul paints all our cars for us, looking good out there, and the other 2 for helping me when it can, and you guys for broadcasting, and Derek for putting all this on. It's a lot of fun.
All right, Justin. Well, thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck next week.
Thank you.
Justin Lawson, your runner-up here at Daytona. Next, we'll talk to the driver, the number 32 G&G Marine Machine. It's Nick Biddy. We'll pull him up. Third place finisher. Nick, it's Steve in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, Nick?
Hey, Steve. How's it going, bud?
It's going good, Nick. It's been a little while, but congratulations. A third place finish here at Daytona. A solid run. Started in the 16th spot. Picked up a bunch of positions, but not quite close enough to take that checkered flag. Walk us through that last lap on our second green-white checkered finish. What is it that unfolded that you saw, at least out your windshield, that unfolded there as far as the crash and then making your way back to start-finish?
Yeah, man. I guess on that last restart, we just needed one more little bit push. I think from the 57 who was behind us. Tried to wait till green to get them all stacked up real good, but didn't quite get as good a jump as I would have liked. And then the game was on after that, right? So I kind of thought I was clear, or kind of thought I was in there in the middle of 3 and 4 when the I think it was the 11 came down. Maybe should have stuck to the middle after I cleared him. Might could have been first.
Well, third place again, nothing to shake a stick at, especially here at Daytona with no fast repairs. The race ran pretty clean and green for quite a while. We had a couple incidents here and there, but man, of course, we get down to the end of these things and they get a little crazy. How did you stay out of that chaos and keep that number 32 machine clean?
We were just trying. I was just trying to stay with the Sys Speed Shop cars, Connor and Skylar, and just tried to stay lined up with those guys and save some fuel, and then also stay with your team, the HBR guys. So just tried to ride in the 15th to 10th position about the whole race, and then try to figure out how to win at the end.
Well, it was certainly an impressive run. You've been fast all season long. Let's see if we can carry that into Nashville Super Speedway next week. What's the game plan rolling into Nashville?
Hey, I just need some points, right? I think I'm kind of in the middle of the playoffs race, so let's just get a good top 10 finish at Nashville and go on to the playoffs.
Sounds like a good plan. Nick, congratulations. Third place here at Daytona. Who do you want to thank?
Yeah. First and foremost, thank you, Caleb Sisk, Sisk Speed Shop, helping us out all season long. He's not racing with us, but man, he is doing a heck of a job. Crew chiefing, spotting for the whole team, really, and also the Lowline Motorsports, Joe David, and Luke Wilkie, cousin Luke. So appreciate those guys helping out. Also, my wife, Jessie Biddy, she's been watching a little bit, and also my kids, Cameron, Coley, and Cora. Thanks, guys, for watching.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Nick Biddy, good to talk to you. Good luck next week.
Yeah, maybe next time.
Nick Biddy, your third place finisher here at Daytona. Let's take a look at our race results. Of course, we talked to Dylan Bryant, Justin Lawson, and Nick Biddy, your top three finishers. Fourth place was Josh Moore. Chris Goins comes home in P5. Alfie Charon Jr. was sixth. John Luke Wilkie, seventh. Jarrett Woodard was eighth. Zach Millett comes home in ninth. Skylar Harrod, very strong car late in this run. Unfortunately for him, finishes in the 10th spot. Matt Sisler was 11th. Jesse Redding, 12th. Derek Welch, again, another really strong car tonight, finishes 13th. Not the finish he wanted or really deserved for the pace that he had this evening. Russ Endicott, strong run for the 57, 14th place. Scott Milner, 15th. Brandon Coleman was 16th. Paul Durkee finishes out in the 17th position. 18th went to Connor Leach. Ben McKinnon, 19th. Jim Ott, 20th. 21st, Mike Corvu. Sean Roberts, a rough night. Trouble early for the 33. He finishes 22nd, a couple of laps down. Jesse Sperling, 23rd, 5 laps down after being wrecked late there on the white coming to the white flag. Joe David, 24th. 25th, Mark Collins. 26th, Albert Anderson. Tom Barish, 27th. That's your race results here from Daytona. Again, congratulations to Dylan Bryant taking home that checkered flag here tonight. Thank you guys all for tuning in. We do appreciate that. YouTube.com/@HBRTV and the number 1. That's the location of the channel. If you're ever trying to tell somebody about HBR TV or Numb Thumbs Racing and you want to say, hey, look what these guys do every Tuesday night and Sunday and Thursday and whatever other night that Numb Thumbs has got something going on. They're always racing. But that's a great place, great way to share it. Like the stream if you haven't already done so. Hit that notification button, that little bell that's somewhere in there. That way you get notified anytime we go live or we post a video, that sort of thing. So you don't miss any of this great action here in the Numb Thumbs Racing League. Again, congratulations to Dylan Bryant taking home the checkered flag here tonight. A strong run for the 28, first win of the season. We'll see you guys next week at Nashville Super Speedway. Thanks for watching.
Got a sight in my rifle. My mama's new boyfriend rebinds Bibles. Ricky down the road, he resows Red Wings. Hell, I got a guy for every damn thing. Oh, that ain't exactly what I'm looking for. 'Cause I'm looking for someone to put the tires back in the drive. And if they don't, then I just might lose what's left of mine, never loving mine. I'm damn near down to my last down. I'm pretty good at breaking down a heart, but picking up the pieces is the hard part. She's searching for someone who's gonna build